their hearts. Also to Kieran Walsh, over here to my left, who has been here all day assisting Leo in getting the film set up and ready for viewing. And for Patrick as well, who's our photographer this evening, so you'll see him floating around. This film, I suppose, is part of our heritage and history of North Kerry, and it'll resonate with a lot of people here. It'll bring back some fond memories as well. So the first part will be approximately 1 hour long, and then we're going to take a break for 20 minutes and we'll go out for tea. So we're going to head out the first door here and we'll form a queue and come back in around. So we'll roughly do a 20-minute tea break, and then we'll come back down here, sit down, and we'll watch the second hour. Just a bit of history on the centre here. It was previously a school, and it's a community centre with the last 50 years. It's run voluntary by a fantastic group of volunteers. There's an incredible amount of work done here in the last 2 years with the crew that's running the place, and it's something that has brought the community back together again. We run a 41 card game here every Thursday night. We do a rambling house once a month. We do coffee mornings, dancing, we do CPR training, and we have decided that we've expressed an interest to purchase this building. So the money raised tonight will go towards our deposit for purchasing the place. And we want to purchase this for the local community as well as the future generations to come. We're hoping to develop it further, and we hope to knock the toilets and build new accessible toilets. That's our main plan anyway. So I just want to thank each and every one of you this evening for coming, and whoever contributed towards tonight to getting the place set up and ready to go. And we hope you enjoy what's ahead for this evening. So I'll hand you over for the film. And just one last thing, if anyone's on social media, you can give us a follow on CLOUNMACON Community Centre, and then I'm done.
So Quinn Canavas, great to see a huge crowd here tonight. Leo deserves it. Enjoy the film.
Down the road there, and the tans were coming down the road from CLOUNMACON that way, we'll say, but it was further down near Finucane's gate and near Walsh's home as well, where they lived down there. But the tans were driving up in lorries up a road which ran parallel, which was maybe about a quarter of a mile or half a mile across from it. The both roads ran parallel to each other. And the tans started firing shots at them. And only for that jumped into a garden, a potato garden, for the stalks, and to the look, because the tans came all the way around. They followed up on it like as well. They jumped into the garden anyway, and they went in amongst the stalks. As it turned out, the stalks would be a couple of feet high. And they went in a nice bit and they lay down. But the tans were able to drive down to Gale Bridge and drive around, and came up, and they fired as many shots as they could. I don't think it would be machine gun fire, but it was rifle fire into the stalks. But very luckily, none of them got hit. So there was, but the tans drove away because they thought maybe they weren't in the garden after all. See, because by the time they had come around, they thought it would have escaped, and they drove away. They never went into the garden. That was their other escape, because they could have been shot inside there.
In 1930, General O'Duffy had a meeting in Listowel of the Blue Shirts.
Yeah, it was in the early 30s anyway. I don't know whether it was, but anyway, the Blue Shirts had one of their biggest meetings, let's say, in the south of Ireland, near Listowel that day. And of course, the IRA faction, which my father was very prominent in. As a matter of fact, he was training some, and up the glen there, and even though the guards knew in Ballybunnon that this training was going on, he was, at the time, he was playing with the Fahad team in Gaelic football, and some of the guards were playing as well. There was one particular guard, Fadden. He was a great friend of my father's, and anything that was going on here, the guards turned a blind eye into it, you see, as far as that was concerned. But anyway, to go back to Listowel, when General Duffy was holding the meeting, my father and his father, and now strangely enough, the two, they weren't together, as a matter of fact, they were separated by about 100 yards or two. And there was a big battle charge because of the fact that there was the RA faction were trying to upset the meeting down below, and the guards were between them, and the guards had a battle charge against the IRA faction. And both my father and his father woke up and said in the hospital in the stall in two adjoining beds with head wounds, and they were unconscious, and when they were going in there, they didn't know they were going in there. And when they woke up and they looked across at each other, and there was the father and the son that sat there, and after being knocked out in the battle that was going on in the stall.
In the 20s, Edward Cavalier was shot in Ballynafford.
Yeah, that's my father telling that story, because himself and Morris Welsh had to go down there to prepare his body before his people would see him, because he had been shot. Apparently, I had my father tell the story, the Tans must have pushed him down in his knees and held him by the head like that, and they shot him in the right here under the mouth, in the chin. The bullet went in, and it lodged here behind in his back, because they could find it inside the skin there in his back behind. And anyway, they brought his body home and said to Cush, where his parents lived. And it was an awful sad occasion. It was, but people had to grow up very fast in them days.
In the 1930s, Sean McBride was on the run.
Sean McBride, born January the 26th, 1904 in Paris. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in Dublin in 1987. Died January the 15th, 1958 in Dublin.
And he was staying below at our house, in the old house now as it was. My father, of course, was well known, and Sean McBride, and it was known as a safe house. But anyway, Sean McBride, I remember when he used to, during the day, he would spend his time up in the parlour, as they would call it. It was a useless room. There was every house in them days. And during the night, he'd come down near the fire, and they would be looking at his brown, he had a pair of brown shoes, with lovely mitre toe caps, you see. And there was a poor old woman going around, a beggar woman going around, and she would always be nice to me, might give her something always anyway, but she would ask me, I'd bring you something the next day, she would say, and I would say, what I want, I say, is a pair of brown shoes, because I was mad about Sean McBride's brown shoes, you see, because I was only, I wouldn't be even sitting up in the chairs in them days, I'd be sitting on the ground, you see. That's why I had such a chance to see the toe caps of his shoes and everything like that. But she promised me anyway, I'd be so disappointed, so the poor woman was barefooted, and I never spotted that. If she was to get shoes for anyone, just for herself, she wanted anyone.
Another man who was in the run at a later date, Charlie Kiddens, born the 23rd of January 1918, died December 1944. He was hanged in Mountjoy prison by De Valera. My father visited him in Mountjoy prison the night before he was hanged by a British hangman. My father and Dan Spring stayed with Charlie Kiddens all night until morning, when he was marched out to be executed.
I remember what was I collected wines and Dalton and Welsh and took them to the stores. That's what I showed me. Bill Sullivan was a Dalton's hunter.
What follows now is some archival film footage and some still photographs from the beautiful countryside of Ballydonohoe, Urlee and Lizelton, and the people who lived there in the 1950s and 60s. Margaret, Liam and Kevin Lynch and their neighbour Mary Mulvihill Phil Boland's daughter and Kevin Lynch, who's the son of Liam Finucane. Kevin Finucane with Paddy and Donal Finucane. Mary Hartnett. The Lynch family Ballybun, Liam and Betty Lynch, children Mona, Lillian, Margaret, Liam, Kevin and Brenda. John Lennan's house in Urlee, B. Lynch is standing on the wall. And there's Joe Lennan. Nancy Allen and Biddy Deanahan's children. Con Dee and Jimmy Kelly. And Kevin Finucane is the boy on the pony. Con Dee and his wife Mary Kelly Dee. The Coilbee, Maggie, Con and Jerry Bond. The Brick Lynches, Mag, Hanny and Tygeen. Mickey Holly and Con Enright. The boy on the bike is Mike Holly. Katie Hannon Sullivan and her son Diarmid. Mick Finucane, a young man here, out for a walk with the dog. Matt Allen and his children. Five young children from Lizelton. Moss Enright, Matthew Welch, Bridget Hannon Welch, J.P. Welch, and son Pat and Dan Finucane. The Dail Welch, running in the picture, is Paddy, his nephew. Mick Finucane's wife, Peggy, and her son Dan.